Welcome to another episode of Little Talks, your weekly dose of marketing news and insights from Littlefield Agency.
Welcome back to another edition of Little Talks with Littlefield Agency. You're going to see a somewhat familiar face. Brock Campbell is joining us today. Brock, welcome.
Insert clapter, Brandon.
Yes, Brock heads up our client engagement and strategy groups, as well as project managers, and he is here to talk a wonderful topic today. But don't worry, we're not going to get into that immediately because we have all the stories. Roop had a heck of a day yesterday.
Oh, should we welcome our new employees first?
And I would love to welcome, so we have Claudia Kelly. She's sitting right over there, right behind the camera. You can't see her. It is her third official day at Littlefield.
Yeah.
She started off on Monday. Yesterday she was up with Grasshopper all day with Roop. And Today she is sitting courtside on the podcast with us.
Yeah, behind the scenes shots.
We just got out of a great staff meeting. I thought the energy was good. I thought it was a good Wednesday morning jump start.
I sure would have liked to have won the wheel in that $100 this week, though.
And why is that?
Well,
take it away, buddy.
The fine law enforcement officers in Kansas saw fit yesterday to give me a speeding ticket that I didn't deserve. Like, I legit was not doing 80 and a 60. I was doing about 76 and a 70.
Okay.
But we were a little late for the meeting, and so I didn't want to fight it. And the guy looked like it was a whole scene. So,
which your ticket says you're going 80 and a 60.
Correct. And he kind of, Claudia reminded me of this. He kind of like stumbled over it initially and walked up and said, you were doing 80 and a 50. Oh, no, wait, I mean 60 and a 40. Like, he was all over the place talking to me about it. He
just wanted to write you a ticket.
He just wanted to write me a ticket, and he did. And I don't know. Yeah, look, if I earned it, I would be like, that's fine. But that wasn't we were late. I was having problems finding restrooms that worked. They were pulling people over. There was a UPS guy that got pulled over. I don't know what's going on in Kansas.
From Tulsa to Mound Ridge, Kansas is 2 hours and 45 minutes. How many stops did you make?
4. Claudia says 4.
I tried to stick up for you, Roop, and say Roop doesn't need to stop 4 or 5 times for the bathroom on the way to Mound Ridge, and apparently yesterday you did.
It was I got a big iced
right
coffee.
Behind we got Chelsea. Hey, Chelsea.
There she is again. Every week now she walks by. Anyhow, she was on me. Chelsea was on me about stopping. We got the speeding ticket. I'm just like trying to.
Would you walk us through the bathroom debacle real quick?
All right. So I think bathroom stop number 2. It wasn't number 2, but like bathroom stop number 2. We run into this truck stop. The men's room is out. Like, it's not.
It's out of order.
It's out of order. Giant signs out of order. It says go use shower stalls 1 and 2, which I was a little worried about. I run to shower stalls 1 and 2. They're closed, and there's water in there, and there's this little guy there saying like, "Hey, they're in order. You can't use them." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" So I leave that place. We drive frantically up the road to the next gas station.
You really had to go.
Oh, bad. And Chelsea's on me the whole time. We get to the second one. I walk in, and there's four stalls, and 2 of them say out of order. And I'm like, who's destroying the bathrooms in Kansas? What's going on? The real crime wasn't my speed. It was whatever's going on in these truck stop restrooms. So I finally found relief there, and then I think it was maybe 20 minutes later we get pulled over. So it was just a real
what was the officer's
crap
name?
Show. He wants Brandon to bleep Officer is what I was going to say. I don't know if that's going to get bleeped or not, but
that
whatever.
Is so good. Well,
whatever.
Rube,
we traveled to Kansas a lot. It was bound to happen.
Did you have to stop post-ticket and pre-client meeting again at the restroom? Just curious.
I think I made it all the way to the bagel shop that we usually stop at.
It's impressive.
You have me in tears over here. Oh, that is so good. It is such a good story. We've been going to Grasshopper. This is year 9. And I think, knock on wood, this was our first and hopefully last speeding ticket. I don't think that's ever happened before.
Maybe
David
not.
Littlefield went on a wrong road at one point that was one way. I don't know how that happened, but I think an on-ramp or...
It's always an adventure. Mike at Grasshopper comes to visit us once a month, and he got a speeding ticket in November, I believe.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
So, yeah, we're on someone's radar.
Roop was not cuffed yesterday.
No.
Thank God.
No, I took it calm. I played it cool.
Oh, my gosh. What a story. Roop was like, how do you want to open this? And boom, nailed it, buddy. Thank you for that comic relief. I needed a good laugh. Okay. We not only have Claudia joining us here in the podcast studio today, but we have a new employee, Joy Holver, started last Wednesday.
Insert applause again,
yes,
Brandon.
We're super excited to have Joy and Claudia here. So we got a lot of, it's been it's not every day is a small business. You have a bunch of new hires joining us, and we do. And so it's, I think, great energy. I love, Claudia's nice and very youthful. What are you, Claudia? 23 years old. Oh my gosh, I remember when I was 23.
She's not the youngest person at the agency, we found out. It's Philip by, 6 months?
Philip's got Claudia beat?
2 months?
2 months?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Philip is still the youngest.
So we welcome Joy, we welcome Claudia, and we welcome Brock. Brock is here today. We've got one topic. This was Brock's idea.
Yeah, so here's what happened. We had an idea for the topic, and it's based off of the stuff we post up on LinkedIn. So yesterday you probably saw the new article about B2B marketing challenges.
Yep.
You can read all about those. And I'll tell you that goes into more depth than what we're going to do here today. I was showing this to Brock, and he actually had way better ideas for today's script and podcast. So he wrote today's script and today's talking points. They're way better than anything I would have come up with because
I've got to show this, Brock.
Why wouldn't they be? Yeah.
Normally, Roop has like one line, talk about this, 2 bullet points. This is Brock's script today. Amazing.
It's fantastic. So
It's
we're going to
really-
go through Brock's script,
we have
not mine.
high hopes for this wonderful topic, which we are talking.
What is going on with Brandon?
He's ready for us to introduce the topic.
Okay.
We are talking to you, Mr. or Mrs. B2B marketer, and the challenges that you face in the world of the dealership distribution networks.
Yeah. And we have a lot of clients that live in this world.
And Brock lives in this
And
world.
Brock lives in this world.
Every day
Yeah.
with our clients, there are always challenges which challenge to me means opportunity. So Brock, would love for you to walk us through some of your thoughts and what you deal with on a daily basis. And then we'll get eventually to some, hey, here's how this can eventually and hopefully be an opportunity. Yeah. Please.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks. I think the biggest challenge, you think about dealer marketing and you say, ideally, you want to try to take a local approach. You think about it, there's a dealer, we're sitting in Tulsa, Oklahoma, there's a dealer in Sacramento, California.
Okay.
And it's easy for us to go, hey, that's just a place on the map. But the reality is that dealer has in a principal, that dealer has a general manager, that dealer has employees, that dealer has competition, audiences. But taking that localized approach is easier said than done. You think about that's easy enough if you've got 50 exclusive dealers across the nation. Still a bit of a challenge, but let's say you've got 1,000 rainbow dealers across the nation. You're not really going to be able to go in and take that localized approach to each and every dealer.
Yes.
So it's that balance of a good dealer marketing program is going to have some of that off-the-shelf quality. It just is. You're not going to do a customized plan for every dealer out
For
there.
1,000 dealers, yeah.
But being able to balance that and to be able to identify, okay, frankly, which of the dealers are on a different level, a different tier. We call them tiers. No dealer's going to want to hear you're a tier 3 for us, but that's the reality.
Right.
So
Yeah.
as a marketer, you got to say whatever the criteria, maybe it's sales volume, these group of dealers are a tier 1. We're going to go in, we're going to do a more customized marketing plan for those dealers. Probably still going to be some similarities from dealer to dealer, but frankly, your tier 2, tier 3 dealers, they get an off-the-shelf dealer program. They just do, unless any of the folks listening and have a dealer marketing staff of 12 people, which they don't.
Yep.
That's just the reality of it.
And that customization is happening in the creative, in the media. Like they're not all the same. So
Yeah, that's a really good point. The creative, generally speaking, will have customized creative. There are some tools we can use for just about any dealer, or they can customize it themselves through the tools that we offer. But the media is a big deal as far as the media channels that we're in and how we use those and how we can use those for different dealers, knowing that, again, that top priority dealer is going to get probably a different media mix, different media budgets, but there's a lot of factors there too. You know, you think about media cost, but that's again where you have to decide as a brand, okay, this dealer right here, high priority for me. Let's say they're in Chicago, very expensive media market.
Yes.
There's a balance there too. So I guess the point is there's just a lot to balance, and the first step in that is identifying your high priority, frankly, most important dealers.
That's a great point. So what I love about Brock, he's very transparent in how up to speed he is on our Little Talks podcast. He's usually a month behind, that's okay. He's
Consistent.
He stays consistent. So Brock, a few weeks ago, we had a B2B salesman, Scott Lloyd, was on the podcast. And I think that was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
he doesn't deal with dealerships, but his whole point on the podcast is he's so focused on sales, marketing is an afterthought. And you working with our clients and on the dealer level, whether it's tier 1 or tier 3, do dealers care about marketing?
Oh gosh.
Please be honest.
It varies,
Yeah.
and that's another factor. You think back to the original point, what are your highest priority dealers? I guess it's also the dealer that will engage, right? Right? So you might have a high volume dealer and their level of engagement with marketing is very low. That might kick them out of that top priority. So it really varies. It's a great question, Sam. Some dealers tend to be engaged with marketing. They see the value in it. Some don't. You think about what can marketing do for them, and that's the point we try to make, and a lot of times it's in the form of leads. So we know that, I know we're working on it, especially Roop. Roop could talk for an hour about ways that we're working on trying to connect that lead we get for a dealer all the way through to a sale. Sometimes the best we can do is to capture that and to say that was a lead that was delivered to the dealer, short of being able to tie it to a sale. But a dealer has to see the value in that. If they don't see a value in the lead, then frankly, they won't see a value in marketing.
Yeah, and if they don't, that's where a good CRM steps in. So if you've got a Salesforce or a HubSpot or something like this, you have an opportunity to learn more about that lead before you pass it along. Pre-qualify it, see if it's ready to be passed along yet. Sometimes people need to be nurtured, right? And that's where a good CRM kind of can step in and do some of that heavy lifting for you and for your dealers.
And you're looking at that every day. Right? Like you're from the marketing, it's just a great point. We always say, marketing is trying to soften the beaches for sales. And for someone that's not ready to dip their toe in the water, it's okay to nurture them along. And I understand dealerships, what do they need to move product and to sell things?
Yeah, but they also don't want their time wasted. So
yes, good point.
If they're just getting raw shotgun leads coming at them, at some point they tune that out and they say, this brand is not giving me quality. I'm wasting my time with this. So we do have Grasshopper's great at this. Actually, they do a lot to really kind of get that lead prepped before it goes off to the dealer.
That is awesome.
That keeps the dealer active, a little more active for them.
And you've got to have a feedback loop from your dealers.
Yes.
I think that is huge and worth mentioning. In that it doesn't have to be even a really structured or even automated dealer feedback loop, but you got to know, how are those leads? So dealer X, we sent you 20 leads last month. Anecdotally, how were they? And if that dealer, to Roop's point, if 19 out of 20 of those were frankly not worth their time, the next month, 19 out of 20 aren't worth their time, they're going to stop following up. And I can't say that I blame them a lot. So it's not just about how can we get a more of a quality lead to them. We got to have their feedback. And sometimes, again, if you've got that top priorities of dealers, give them a call. Give them a call every couple months. Check in, see how are the leads from a quality standpoint that we're sending you, how are they doing?
That is awesome.
Yeah, closing the loop is
and
big.
And are you saying, Brock, on that note, from like what we call rainbow dealers, could be 1,000 to certified, ditch switch dealers. You're saying on all fronts that should be something that should be happening.
Yeah, obviously if you've got a smaller dealer network, especially if they're an exclusive dealer, there's probably there is some natural communication that's built in from marketing to dealer. But if you've got rainbow dealers, again, prioritize those. Maybe you make phone calls every other month to 10 and you make phone calls every 6 months to 30. Right. Those aren't magic numbers, but you know what I mean? There's got to be some feedback.
And not for nothing. Make those calls because nothing beats the human interaction. People like that attention. But even when if say you've got 20,000 dealers. Who has 20,000? Someone has 20,000 dealers, right?
I don't think so.
Well, okay, maybe. We'll find out. But say you've got more than you can call.
Slow down over there, Mr. 80.
I had a rough week,
50,000.
But say you have a ton of dealers, and so there's the ones you have priority, you're calling, you're nurturing those dealers along as well. There's some stuff we can do. I'm going to hype CRM this episode again. There's stuff you can do in the CRM that can make that outreach and that check, closing that loop, pretty easy as well. So I'll just say there's opportunities. You can follow up with them and make it as easy as, was this lead good? Yes, no. And you're clicking a button, you're getting that feedback from the user or the dealer. You're trying to make it as simple as possible, but your first option should be to call them.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and you look at it, and I know we're doing some work, Roop, and you're doing some work. How can we get more integration into the CRM? What we'd love to see, obviously, if a dealer can see that. Usually a dealer will get, as much as we might like them in the CRM, sometimes they get those leads via email, right? They get the lead via email, and how can we get any kind of automated or feedback from them via email? That's a tough one. The phone call's great, but would love for them to be able to give feedback on a per lead basis even.
Yeah.
Brock, I don't want to get into the details, but I look back at the last 30 days and a lot of the calls I've had with prospective clients that are very much in the B2B manufacturing space. Treetop level co-op programs, from what I'm going to call corporate to the actual dealership. Do you find that is, whether it's a tier 1 or tier 3 dealer, good incentive to show that corporate is playing a role in supporting said dealer?
Yeah.
Are you seeing successes there?
It varies. Just being real, and I think we're real. Co-op programs in a nutshell. The factory, the brand wants the dealer to be buying TV, and they'll reimburse them 50%. The dealer says, "Hey, we just ordered a bunch of hats, reimburse me." It's really that gap between, or actually hats, or it's hey, local golf sponsorship. Well, that's not on our list of approved tactics that are reimbursable. Yeah. So I think, to answer your question, the biggest tension usually lies there. And anybody that has worked on dealer programs will smile with me, because that is the reality. But the reality also is any exposure, usually about any exposure that's positive that you can get, that's a positive thing. So from a factory standpoint, from a brand standpoint, it's, okay, are they the dealer, getting your brand out there in a positive way? And if the answer is yes, that's a good thing. And if there's some reimbursement that's associated with that, hey, you're getting local exposure. And the local exposure, while we can get a whole lot of national exposure, that local exposure is also normally with a dealer, whether it's face-to-face or whether it's in another media channel or venue. And that's, in a way, probably even more meaningful because it's dealer-specific.
I love that. Yeah. If there was one key takeaway, would it be your point earlier about qualified leads? What would you say, just in the sense of this topic alone?
Actually, if there has to be one, it's that feedback loop.
Feedback loop? I like
Absolutely.
That. Yeah.
Gotta hear, are these leads good? Because if they're not, the dealers are not going to stay engaged.
Great. Fair enough. We see it every day on the prospective side, on our client side, and you have an unengaged dealer, and it's tough. And so I think that's a great tip. And there's your opportunity.
Yeah.
Glass half full, baby.
Love it.
Love it. Okay, Brock, thank you for joining us.
You bet.
Claudia, thanks for hanging out with us, and welcome. And folks, if I have one tip for you, drive the speed limit. We'll see you next week.
Go to Kansas.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
And that's a wrap. We hope you've enjoyed our little chat and found ways to grow your own marketing strategies. Remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us on social media @Littlefield Agency.